I'm Bea.
And I'm Sam.
And we're two best friends who like to talk shit about smut, wingspan,
And sometimes books.
Join us every Wednesday for a new episode. So this is episode...
No anymore.
We've had a shuffle of episodes, haven't we?
Officially 14?
Yeah, 14. So do we want to talk about it, or do we... Yeah, we can. We're going to talk.
You wouldn't let me talk about it.
I know, I just didn't want to put it out there and then it not happen and we look like divs. Well, no, I say by the time it's released, but that isn't true because this is releasing this week. So we haven't done this in a while. Normally we're always like a week ahead, but we're coming to you fresh on a Monday, ready to release on a Wednesday. Yeah, because we've had a bit of a right turn when it comes to our episodes and what's happening.
Yes.
So last week we actually recorded an episode which was another wishlist episode because we wanted to do a little break after doing Six of Crows, Crooked Kingdom. Yeah. And we didn't really have like any books that we were like gasping to do. So we thought nice little palette cleanser. We'll do a little From Blood and Ash wishlist.
Yeah.
And then we were actually going to do, then afterwards we were going to start the Crowns and Iaxia series by Chris Broadbent.
We were.
And on a random Thursday, we got a little email, didn't we? So we've been wanting to talk about these type of things for a while, but we haven't sort of had enough of like a answer to be able to talk about it. But we have been trying to branch out in terms of what we do.
Our content,
thank you. And we asked some of our favourite authors for interviews. And it was the scariest thing we've ever done. But we got some yeses. We did. Now, we can't talk about all those yeses right now. Not because we have like NDAs or anything.
NDAs.
What does NDAs? I don't know. NDAs. But just that we don't want to like say that something's going to happen.
Just in case anything falls through.
Yeah. And we don't want to get you excited and it might take a while because stuff doesn't happen quickly, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So there's some things coming and we're hoping we can say about them soon. But the one we can, I think, pretty confidently talk about now is that we are interviewing the one and only, go on, you say it.
Penn Cole.
Penn Cole, the author of the Kindred Saga. We've been talking about these books, literally, if you listen to the ends of episodes, we've probably mentioned these books.
Week on week.
Every week. And we've always intended to read them.
Yeah.
You've been chomping at the bit to read them.
Yes.
And it's not that we didn't want to do them, it's just...
Other things kept cropping up. Book releases were coming out of books that we desperately wanted to read. Yeah. And then, our TBR is never ending. So they were just stuck on the TBR.
Yeah, and also, like, we sometimes try and balance things that we want to do with things that we think you would like.
Yes.
So we try and, like, as much as this might sound creepy, but we do try and watch everybody's videos on Book Talk, on Bookstagram, all the people that we follow interact with this. Like, we want this to be like a thing that you enjoy. We're not just doing it because we, within reason, obviously we want to do it as well. So we just felt like at that time, other thing, and it's not that we didn't want to do it, it's just other things had like cropped up, hadn't they?
Mm-hmm.
So like we said, the Iaxia series from Blood and Ash, and Sam started reading it on the plane to Vegas.
I did.
While you were on holidays.
Yes.
And you loved it.
Devoured.
Yeah. Like absolutely loved it. And I never thought that it wouldn't be good. I had only seen fantastic reviews of it. But Sam was like, we need to do this book. So it definitely got bumped up the list in terms of priority. And then I started it, and then we thought, you know what? This was when we were kind of got a bit of confidence when it came to the interview request, and then we just thought, right, we really like Penn Cole. Let's just like, I can't say slide into her DMs because that sounds a bit creepy. What's the professional term? We inquired and we got a yes.
Eek.
And that's when we realised we've been girl bossing a little bit too hard.
Yeah, we're so good at this.
Yeah, when you girl boss a bit too hard, and then the reality hits that you have to like
interview somebody.
Interview Penn Cole. It's happening 2 weeks today. we were like, shit, right, we need to get, because we obviously like, we want to have our episodes out
before the interview comes out.
100%. And then we didn't want to record it and have it just like lingering in the background. And also as well, we haven't quite hit it yet, but we are so close.
So close. So painfully close.
The big old 10 on TikTok, which has been like, we don't know why, it's just been a personal milestone of ours since the beginning.
Yeah, we've always said like 10K is the big goal.
That is it. And we are like something like 200 and something followers away from it as of this evening. So
we're at 9787.
That's
213.
213 followers off. So I'd really like to hope by the time this episode comes out on Wednesday that we are there. So, and we're not just like, we're doing a giveaway for it. So we're not just like, you know, like we've got a 6-book giveaway going. Probably by the time, I'd like to think you listen to this, it's done.
Yeah.
But if it's not,
enter
quick, because you could win either 3 books, 2 books, or 1 book. We wanted to have the Penn Cole stuff out ASAP because we thought that was like an amazing way to sort of like celebrate 10K with our first ever author interview. And the fact that it's Penn Cole, like,
amazing.
Literally we're fucking gobsmacked and starstruck, and we both suffer from imposter syndrome, but this is like
next level.
Yeah, 100%. So that's why everything's been reshuffled now. Yes. So we've got the From Blood and Ash episode. It's going to come out 100%. We'll release it soon. We really enjoyed it. We loved it. But today we've bumped up the Kindred saga, and we're going to be doing 1 episode per book thus far. Yeah. So there's 3 books out at the moment. 4th book is due out
July.
Is it that soon?
Next month.
I thought it was like November.
No, next month.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
But apparently book 3 ends on a huge cliffhanger.
You haven't finished book 3?
No.
Okay. So then the other concern was I need to pull my finger up my ass and finish all these books.
And by God, did you?
Oh, I knew I would. Like I'm a quick. I can turn around a 600-page in 24 hours if I put my mind to it. I have. Yeah. I only started book 2 at like 10 p.m. last night, and I'm on 99%. So I knew I could do it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't out of force. I have absolutely.
And I told you would. I said you will love the female lead. You will love the style of writing. You will love the tension and the slow burn, the yearning.
Yes.
It's all a bit of us, isn't it?
100%. These books are tied for books reads of the year for me. The only other thing that like, and I'm not saying is better, it was just as equally as good, was Promise of Peridot.
Oh, Promise of Peridot was amazing.
Promise of Peridot up until now has been my best read of the year.
It was fun.
Oh, it was just everything you want. It was just everything I want from book. And this has been as equally phenomenal. Book 1 is very good. I would say that it's definitely a type, and I suppose a lot of series are like this, that they just get better the more you go generally.
Yeah, because you flesh out the story more.
Yeah, you get more experience with characters. So I will say that like book 2 has been outstanding. Not that book 1 wasn't excellent.
Yeah.
But book 2 was like, really going. And then I've got book 3 to finish. I've got 2 weeks, so I've got plenty of time.
Plenty of time, but I don't think it'll take you.
No, I think I'll probably have it finished by like Friday, to be honest with you.
It's a bigger book. I think it's about 1,000 pages.
That's the little story.
Of how we got here. So today we're going to talk about Spark of the Everflame.
Book 1 of the Kindred saga.
Kindred's Curse saga.
Sorry, yes.
Yeah. We're in a realm of magic.
Yeah.
That it's split between mortals, and they're called the Descended.
Yes.
They're descended from gods with magic. There's a crown system, and you can only have the crown if you're descended, and the crown always passes to the person in that realm with the strongest magic.
And also, like, the descended, like you just said, are descendants of the gods.
Yes.
But the gods mated with humans to make them.
Yes.
So as much as they are all super strong magic wielders, they all ultimately descend from mortals and gods. They're effectively like demigods, really.
Yeah, there's 9 realms, which I'll get into later.
Yes.
And 9 crowns. There's a bit of animosity between the Descended
to say
and
the bloody
mortals.
least. I think straight off the bat we know that everybody fucking hates each other.
But some realms are more tolerant of mortals than other realms.
And the other way round. Some realms are even worse than the realm that we're in. Because, like, I think our main character, Diem, mentions that some realms literally have banished mortals.
Yeah, you're not even allowed to step on their soil.
No. So
it's like kill on sight.
Where she is in Lumnos,
yes,
is kind of like in the middle. Not the best, not the worst. They have mortals. They don't particularly love them, but they don't actively they kind of just shut them in a city and...
Yeah, it's the mortal city, basically.
Yeah, forget that they're there.
And interestingly, you're not allowed interbreeding between the descended and the mortals, even though the descended come from mortals. Yeah, no interbreeding. Yeah. And half children that are born are slaughtered.
And she mentions that, like, they didn't outlaw people, like, descendants having relationships with mortals.
Yeah, they're all in the fucking mortal brothel house, aren't they?
So that's mentioned quite early on, is that she says, like, descendants will actively seek out mortal, like, prostitutes and so on.
Hypocrites.
Yes, but as soon as one of them gets pregnant, they are not legally allowed to execute. Awful. And Diem is living in the mortal city.
Yeah, Diem is mortal.
A healer.
Yes. And her mum is a healer.
Yes.
She lives with her dad and her brother, but not her birth father.
Yeah,
just the man who raised her from birth.
Yeah, we learn that quite early on, don't we? She says that, like, she's a... Would you say Bellator is her surname? Yeah, Bellator by name, but he's not her biological dad.
Yes.
But she's never known any different. She was literally like a newborn infant when he took her on.
Yeah.
But her brother Teller is her half brother, so that's her mum and dad's actual child.
Yes.
Yeah. We're told pretty early on that the only thing about Diem is that she doesn't look like other humans. So one of the big distinguishers between humans and descended is that descended all generally tend to have, or they do, all have blue eyes.
Yes.
And
they're all really tall. They're all much taller than mortals.
Yeah, very physically, like, very impressive, empowering people. But mortals are obviously much smaller, and all mortals have brown eyes.
Yes.
However, Diem does not.
She was born with brown eyes, and they turned grey, and her hair turned white.
Yeah, she had, like, some kind of disease. That's all she sort of says when she was young.
She's fucking stunning. I don't know if you've seen any fan art of her.
I've purposely tried to not to, because I'm scared of
any spoilers. First things first. Have you seen... I know, we're both reading it on the Kindle, just to put it out there.
Yes.
Have you seen the books?
I have.
They are fucking beautiful.
So I said to you, one of the reasons why I didn't start it straight off the bat, and I said this to you, because when I saw, I think it was somebody on Bookstagram did a little, pic of the physical copies that they had. That's why I said to you, I'm going to hold off because I want to buy them, because they are literally stunning. So that was like, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's such nice looking books. I think
beautiful.
Like, the silhouette of her on the front of the book is just...
phenomenal.
Yeah.
So that was why I held off reading them, because I knew they were on Kindle Unlimited, but I was like, oh, I really want them.
What's it called when an author puts a note in the front of the book?
A dedication.
Yes. The dedication in this book.
Beautiful.
For anyone who has ever been told their spark shouldn't burn so bright, and for all the people who loved them precisely because it did.
Oh, yeah.
Stunning.
And I think this, not in this isn't a spoiler, but I've not read the third yet, but those quotes, like the second one has a very similar type of quote. Phenomenal.
Like, oh, it breaks my heart.
Yeah. I think that's a really big theme, isn't it? Throughout the first book particularly, is Diem is a very fiery character.
She's so feisty.
And we love her.
And she's got a temper.
Yeah.
She can't hold her tongue.
No.
If she's thinking it, she's saying it.
Yeah.
And I love it.
And I think that, again, a lot about Diem's story, which we learn, is that, she's sort of been told to take this powder to keep her mother says hallucinations at bay. But in reality, it's very heavily alluded throughout the book that there's something going on in some kind of she's got magic.
Yeah. We're not dull. That wasn't a shock.
No. I think after that scene with Henry in the woods and the wolf, it's pretty like, even because Henry says like, you're not hallucinating. I saw it, like,
and obviously she protects a woman in like outside a brothel. A descended man is trying to
the woman and the child. Yeah. There's a lot of scenes where when she's in trouble, kind of she closes her eyes, which doesn't bloody help. So because it's first person, you're like, stop fucking closing your eyes, DM. I want to know what's happening. But obviously we're building mystery. But like even within the first book, we pretty much know like she's got some kind of magic. Yeah, a lot of her life she's been sort of made to like downplay herself.
Yeah, like dampen your dampen your spark.
Yeah,
like,
literally.
Don't be so fiery and feisty. Like stay in line, basically.
And she's sort of been like given no choice really than to be a healer. And she mentions that quite a lot, that like she loves being a healer, but it was just like that or nothing, because we learned that the dynamic is that the Descendeds are incredibly wealthy. They live in this like beautiful city. All the Descended families live there. They all kind of interbreed within reason. Like 20 families of Descendeds in this kingdom. And then the mortals effectively have very few like opportunities. They have to leave school very young to work manual labor jobs. So her mum was kind of like, if you don't become a healer, like what are you gonna be? You either become a healer or you've got to find a good husband to marry.
But her dad also trains her, so she does a lot of like sparring and sword fighting with her dad, because her dad was a general in the army. Working for the Descended. He was like one of like the highest ranking mortals.
He's retired, but he was the highest ranking mortal in all of, not just their kingdom, the entire army, the whole world.
The Emarian army. So something that you just touched on, obviously it's all written from Diem's point of view. How do you feel? I know you're a single point of view girly. Did you need anybody else's point of view?
Not in a first book, no. I wouldn't, when I say I'm a single point of view, I'm just not a lot of POVs. Like I could happily read series from one POV and it doesn't particularly bother me. But then some of my favourite books have 2 or 3. I can't do, I'd say 3 is my absolute fucking max.
It gets confusing.
So as you can imagine, 6 of Crows was a fucking spinner for me. I tend to get a bit, not nervous when I read first person POVs, but like it's a lot more like, if you don't like the character, you can't get away from it, can you? So I do sometimes worry, because if they're not an enjoyable character, it can make me, and that's what the 2 books I've ever DNF'd have both been, because it's from one first person POV and I did not enjoy the main character, and I can't read hundreds of pages of the character I don't vibe with. However, Diem, I know you said this, but like Diem is a fucking delight.
I love her so much.
Honestly, shot right up into the top of my rankings of favorite main characters.
I agree.
She's just so relatable. She's so funny,
so witty.
Just realistic. Messy.
Little green flag.
And just really sort of. But when you say green flag, I don't think she's too much of a green flag.
No, it's not like Elaine.
Yeah, or like I was trying to think of another main character that we say is like too, like in Nej, right? Deep down is like such a good person. Whereas like we're kind of not really good people. Like we are, but we're not, you know? So I think what's nice about Diem is that it's like, she teeters, doesn't she? Like she is a good person, but also like not afraid to like fuck someone up. Like she's not going to be like, oh, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to cut you. Like, no, she'll hurt you.
We start with a map.
We do.
Emarian, which I have here.
Yes.
And I just think it's a really interesting map, because it's almost like a donut.
Oh, it is a donut,
It's like a big round circle and then an island in the middle. So obviously the island in the middle is where the Kindred's temple is. Then all the other realms are set around the temple. And there's a ring road that goes all the way round. You can get from one realm to the other. But as we said, some mortals aren't allowed in certain realms. So that ring road isn't accessible. But yeah, I thought it was a really interesting map. It's not the type of map we usually see.
Correct.
I think a lot of maps that we see almost sort of look like the UK.
Oh, yeah. Well.
And I thought this was a really interesting map. That caught my eye straight away. As soon as I started reading it, I was like, okay, I like this. I like this. This is different. Because, like you said, there's certain themes in fantasy books, and especially with fae books and magic, like laws and things. But I thought that was really interesting because it's very different to anything we've ever seen before.
Mm-hmm. And it's also simple.
Yes.
Easy to remember, but not too simple.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I see a map, and this is, again, I just remember it burned into my brain of a series I've just read, which is the Kingdom of the Wicked series.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows you a map of like the 7 levels of hell, but it's just like a little bit of a squiggle with just 7 castles on it. There's just like no point to it. Like there's no need for you to have a map, because there's like, you don't need to explain to you things are. You just draw on a squiggle and put 7 castles on it. Like it's not like informative.
Yeah.
Like, and in the book it didn't matter. You didn't need to know where things were. There was, but like this was simple, but not so simple that you were like that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it just makes it easy to understand when they're traveling, or like traveling to a different realm. It's easy to understand because it's a ring.
Yeah, because sometimes you get like another prime example of a book we read recently, which I would say didn't have a map, but then heavily described all the time where they were going, was A Fate Inked in Blood.
Yeah.
So it didn't have a map, but then spoke all the time about like, right, we've got to travel north, then we go here, then we go here, then we go here, and it's like, you need a map.
Yeah.
I need a map to envisage this.
Yeah, I do. I like flicking back to a map. I do.
I don't flick back usually.
Okay.
Not often. Only if I'm struggling.
Yeah.
Only if I don't remember places. But I do like to have it because it just gives you that like immediate world building. And straight off the bat, like, right, this is where we are.
Yeah, you don't even have to have read anything. Yeah. And you sort of understand the layout of the world that you're going to be reading about.
And what I will say with this book is I never felt the need to flick back to the map.
Yeah,
because
I agree.
Because it was so like simple, get it, big ring, don't go in the middle.
Yeah.
Like we can't go in the middle. We can only go around. It's a big donut. I get it. And that's all I need to know. Lovely. Thank you. Thanks, Penn Cole.
Yeah. Cheers, Penn. I feel like I can call it Penn.
Yeah, I feel like we're on first name basis now. So we know that, Diem's in one of them, which is called Luminos. And all of the realms are like kind of like Akatar courts where, okay, shall I shut up?
No, I've got a discussion topic about the realms.
Yeah. So they are all like, every realm, everybody's magic from that realm is linked to the realm, as in the soil. So they have like types of magic, and each.
Do you want me to go through it, and then I'll ask my question about it. This is going to be a bit of a monologue. I apologise.
There's a lot of them. I skipped this bit.
So we have 9 realms. So she's in Lumnos, which is the realm of light and shadow. A light which burns while shadows bite, their eyes of blue haunt day and night.
Oh yeah, they were all little rhymes, weren't they?
Photos, the realm of force and valour. With eyes and swords enrobed in red, they'll mind you whole or strike you dead. So Photos is where all healers are.
Who are they?
Yeah, when the king was ill, they send the Photos healers. And then because he's at like end of life, they're like, oh yeah, okay, the mortal healers can come in.
That's odd, because in my head, Photos was like not the baddies, but like the aggressive ones. But is it maybe because they're fighters? They're also, because that's the thing, they're all kind of opposites, aren't they?
Yeah. So also just to say, the blue eyes is only in Lumnos.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's different, every realm
has a different colour.
Yes.
Then we got Fornos, realm of beast and brute. Fur and feathers, beasts that crawl, their yellow eyes control them all. Aboros, the realm of root and thorn. Eyes of moss bring nature's scorn, the prettiest flowers have poisoned thorns. Igneos, the realm of sand and flame. Flame in spirit, flame in sight, the desert holds their fiery might. Umbros, the realm of mind and secret. Irises black with hearts to match, a kiss and soon your mind they'll snatch. Miros, the realm of sea and sky, a gaze to match the vengeful seas, in water deep they'll drown your pleas. Sophos, the realm of thought and spark, the cunning spark of wisdom true, Ro's eyes will be the death of you. Montios, the realm of stone and ice, violet stone to match their gaze, beware their ice at end of days. And my question was, what realm would you want to be from?
Oh, 100% the fucking black-eyed realm, the mind reading shadow daddies.
Same.
Like as soon as when I was reading them, I was like,
And obviously I know I'm talking about book 2 here, but in book 2 we meet a pair from every realm.
Yeah, we get representatives from every realm. Yeah, and
that is so interesting.
Yeah, and not like this isn't a spoiler, but having met those people. Yeah, 100% would be from that realm. The only other one I would consider is Luminos.
Yeah.
Because like the mind control realm, Umbros, I think is. Umbros,
yes, Umbros.
They're not like shadows. They're just like mind control.
Yeah.
Whereas like Luminos is light and shadow.
Yeah.
So
they wield light, they wield shadow.
Yeah, I'm kind of like in between the two because, you know, we all know we love a shadow daddy.
Yeah.
And boy, do we get one in this series.
Yes.
But yeah, I think Umbros. I think that's what I'm
exactly the same. But it's interesting because obviously Igneos is sort of like a desert, the one that's the sand. And then Montios is described as being like mountainous, basically.
Yeah.
So I do feel like most of them, it's sort of obvious. Like Fornos is the beasts and stuff. And the I just feel like it's easy to understand, like just from their names. Like I'm like, okay, I remember.
Not too easy that it's like, roll your eyes. Like, it's a good
not
balance.
Like the flower realm. Like, but like, it's easy to be like, oh yeah, I know when they just say Umbros, I remember.
100%, I agree.
Because when I saw it was 9 realms when I first read it, I was like, oh fuck, I'm gonna get so confused about all the different people and what each realm does. But actually, thus far, I haven't.
That's another thing I was going to talk about is that her world building is excellent for
so good.
Again, when I say but for us, because it's the perfect balance of enough that you don't feel like you're really contaminated and you don't have a sense of where you are, but not too much that you're like, Jesus Christ, I don't know what's going on. And that is what's so clever about like using, I want to say that, and again, this is me just guessing, but I've got a feeling that maybe those words are like Latin origins, which is why like Fornos, like Umbros, like Luminos, or maybe she just made it up. But like there's enough there that it gives you a hint that you can remember, like, oh yeah, this is this place, this is this place. And I agree. And it was the same when it came to like the magic as well.
Yeah.
It's just enough. It's not too much world building and you feel like you're getting lost. But it's just enough that you don't really have to like think too hard.
Yeah.
And that was great.
We find out really early on that she had like on-off love affair with a character called Henry.
Yeah.
And then her mum goes missing.
Yeah.
So at the time of reading that book, her mum's been missing for 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
And when her mum goes missing, she sort of like goes a bit introverted. She doesn't want to speak to anyone. So her love affair with Henry is sort of put on hold. Mm-hmm. And then at the time of us reading book 1, she sort of reignites that flame with Henry.
Yeah.
So straight off the bat, thoughts on Henry?
In the beninging. So if I were to just take this book and apply no other knowledge to the world of fantasy romance, I would say he was fine.
Really?
I mean, in the beginning, yeah, like he's fine.
What? Yeah, but what about then? Okay, when he like takes her to be a guardian.
Oh yeah. But I'm just saying,
quite pushy.
Oh yeah, but in our like first initial intros, fine. She bangs him in the woods, like whatever. He's fine. But knowing what I know about our genre, I knew that this guy was going to be a fucking shit show.
So you haven't looked at any fan art?
No,
other than the picture that I sent you.
I've been too scared.
Okay, hang on.
And I normally do, but you keep telling me that there's so many spoilers that I'm like, oh, I don't want to look at things.
Because he is not the one.
But she describes him as quite handsome, doesn't she?
Okay, he's not the one for me.
Oh, he's not our type. And we just know, like, he just gives Dane ick vibes, doesn't he? Like, he just gives such Dane vibes that I was just like, I just knew, you know, we this is why we love this genre, because we love the, like, I know it, like, we said this before in the, with our ACOTAR, like, bonus episode that we did, that, you know, we read a lot of, like, similar tropes.
Yeah.
Like
we like what we like.
We like what we like. And a lot of people would think that reading the same sort of tropes over and over could get boring. And sometimes, and this isn't like to be nasty, but sometimes they can be a bit like, a bit done.
I've seen that. Yeah.
However, in this, it does tick all the boxes that we want. Like we said, the shadow daddy, enemies to lovers. Like it's not the first guy that she's with. It's not the childhood friend thing. But like, it's so bloody good.
Yeah.
It's enough that it feels familiar, but not so familiar that you feel like you're reading the same old stuff over and over. So yeah, when I met Henry, did I know he was going to be a big old fucking red flag? 100%. But that's what we're here for.
Yeah. And like you say in the beginning, like they're like little childhood bestie lovers.
Yeah.
So like it's quite sweet. And then obviously he takes her to join the Guardians, which are like a rebel group that are against the Descended.
Yes.
And he's so fucking pushy.
We do find out by the end of book 1 that she is a Descended.
Yes. We don't find out she's a Descended, but it ends with her taking the crown after the king dies. So like,
and only the crown can only go to Descended.
Yeah, and people with the strongest magic. So it's not like confirmed, but because we don't see her magic or anything. But like,
we kind of know that like she isn't human. Let's put it that way.
And we all knew that all along.
Yeah, but I feel like Henry knew.
Oh, okay.
I feel like because Henry's thing is that he fucking hates the Descended, because when he was younger, his mum was dying from a disease that could have been treated by going to get medicine from another kingdom.
From Fortos.
Applied or spoke to the crown and said, let us go. And the crown were like, nah, that's right, she should fucking die.
Yeah.
And so his mother's death was like a direct result of the Descended being absolute dickheads, which they are. Like, the Descendeds are fucking pricks.
Horrid. The
worst. They give me big, from Blood and Ash, Descended. They call the Descended in Blood and Ash, aren't they? No.
Ascended.
Nearly. They're just fucking pricks.
Awful people.
Like, we get
most of them.
Even the ones that are, because that's what we, when she kind of gets to know others.
Yeah.
Which we'll get to. They're still kind of dickheads, just not as much of a dickhead as the other ones.
Yeah.
None of them are like outwardly, at this point, outwardly like nice people.
Lily.
Yeah, Lily is probably the only exception.
She's a child, so but she's lovely.
Teenage, like late teens, yeah. But yeah, she's probably the only one out of like multiple that we meet throughout the book. So Henry's got big problems with the Descended.
Yeah, because he also saw a child get murdered.
Yeah.
Got run over by a Descended on its horse.
He just looked back and went, oh.
No, he shouted at the child for being in the way.
Yeah.
And just carried on riding.
So Henry's got big problems with the Descended, and so he, like you said, he turns to a rebel group that call themselves
the Guardians
of the Everflame.
Yes.
Which the Everflame is like this tree that, so when the Descended, or no, not the Descended, when the Kindred, the gods, the OG gods, the 9 of them, landed on this world, the humans had other gods, which they called old gods. That's what they refer to as the Everflame. Yeah. They were like, that tree is the representation of the old gods.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just came along and cut it down and were like, right, you're fucking listening to us now.
And they put a temple instead.
Yeah, I'm your daddy now. So
I'm captain.
Yeah. So this symbol is like very forbidden, because they do not like people talking about the old gods. And this is why the sort of rebels, the human rebels, have that as their symbol. They call themselves Guardian of the Everflame. So Henry's big old deep in the fucking rebel world and brings Diem in, because she kind of ends up accidentally being a spy.
Yeah.
Because after her mother's disappearance, she takes over her mum's role of healing the Descended, becoming their healer.
Yeah, the palace healer.
Yeah, and ends up like very successfully sneaking into one of the royal family's like houses. And
he's not a royal family, is it? The House of Bennett.
Yeah, so there's like there's 20 houses
who all want the crown.
Yeah, and then one house that rules, which is currently, how are you saying it?
Corbois.
Oh, do you? I say Corbois because I'm rough.
Corbois.
So
we'll ask Penn how to pronounce
we will
this.
ask.
Oh my god!
Humble brag. We'll ask Penn. But yeah. Anyway, they are the family that are ruling.
Yes.
But the house she sneaks into the Corbois, but the house that she sneaks into is like another descended family. They're still very rich, but they're just not the royal family. And she successfully gets information and kind of stumbles into being a rebel.
Yeah.
By accident, really. All of a sudden.
But with a big old push from Henry.
Henry is just completely fueling this, isn't he? He's really like, because I think with Diem, and this is why she's such an interesting character, is that she has sympathies for both sides.
Yes.
And this is talked about a lot during it, isn't it? About Diem, like why she's such a good healer, because it doesn't matter who's in front of her. She treats everyone with humility. Yeah. And that's a big, obviously the beginning of the story is that she gets called to the palace to treat Lily.
Yeah, there's been a ceiling fell down on a load of children.
Yep. And Lily has quite severe injuries, and she treats her like she was a human, calms her down.
Yeah, and some strange white light comes from Diem's hands, and then Lily is miraculously healed, and Diem doesn't know that she's fucking descended.
Yeah, so I mean, even in those first few chapters, I was just like, I mean, come on. We'll also learn that the king of Luminos is dying.
Yes.
And that's why Diem's mother was being asked to be the palace healer, was to kind of like make him comfortable.
Yeah, that's why they stopped with the Fortos healers, because they basically said there's nothing more we can do, just keep him comfy. So now now it's okay for mortal healers.
Yeah, so because the descended like don't train as healers because it's way beneath them. During during the initial visit, when she goes in through like a back door to the palace, she leaks that information, doesn't she?
When she treats the children. And when she goes to treat Lily, that is our first encounter with Luther. So straight off the bat, thoughts, feelings.
Oh, I mean, was I fucking head over heels for this guy straight off the bat? He was barking orders at her. He was being rude. He was insulting the way she healed. And you learn that like Luther's relationship to Lily is obviously very close. Either like, I don't, potentially could have been his daughter. You don't know at that point. Didn't know if it was his daughter. You didn't know that, but he cared a lot for Lily, and he was fucking seething that she was hurt, and was really rude to Diem when she was healing her.
Yes. One thing straight away that I love about Luther is he's got this big old sexy scar down his face and down onto his chest, which he could have had healed. Yeah. And he chooses not to.
Yeah, so the descended, like, once they're of age or like matured, they heal really quickly. Yeah. And any scars that they got from childhood that maybe hadn't healed, they can go to the Fortos healers and get them removed. Yeah. So he actively chooses to have this huge scar, basically from the bottom of his chin all the way. Oh, is it literally
from his eyebrow coming down his face, and it goes down onto his chest.
Dark hair, dark eyebrows, blue eyes, big scar.
Sexy mask.
Tick, 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 tick.
Sexy man.
And he's rude to her. So, yeah, straight off the bat, I was like, this is our guy. Also in that scene, interestingly, just to mention, Lily's arm is like dislocated. And Diem has to set her arm. And one of the things that Diem mentions is in all her training that her mother gave her to be a healer, her mother forbid her to ever learn the sort of specifics to healing descended. Yeah. Because she did not want Diem going anywhere near them.
Yeah.
So
I wonder why.
And we wonder why. So Diem just is like, well, I'm just gonna have to like pop your bone back into place, basically. I'm just going to do it like I would any other human. She does it and it's fine. And then when I think she mentioned it to the other healer that she works with, whose name I can't remember, begins with an M. Mora. Or she mentions it to Henry. She mentions it to somebody, I can't remember. And they're like, are you sure that you did that? And she's like, yeah, why? And they're like, oh, descended bones are like unbelievably strong and a human would not be able to do that. And she's like,
Yeah, and like every interaction from then on out with Luther, she talks about like being able to feel his aura and his energy, and there's like a lot of like crackling sparks between them. Very interesting.
And we learn that Luther is like kind of next in line for the throne. So the king of Luminos, Ultha, is dying. He had no children and has two brothers who are both still alive, called Remus and Gareth. And they have children. So Luther is Remus's son, his eldest son. And the way that kind of like crowns are picked within Descended is it goes to the most powerful. And so we learn very early on that Luther's magic is, we're talking big, which is why he's sort of favourite for the crown. But it isn't decided until, it isn't like he says, you're going to be my successor. No. The goddess Luminos herself chooses the most worthy. So potentially it could leave the Corbois family altogether.
Corbois
family altogether. And it
could
go...
You know, if Penn says it's Corbois, I'm going to be fucking livid.
I reckon it is, because there's no little, like, accent. But then again, we did, on our research of Penn, we have learned that she does live in France, so it very potentially is Corbois. But it doesn't just necessarily go to the next in line. So it could completely skip the Corbois and go to one of the other families if they were the most powerful. Mm-hmm. It just so happens to be Luther. And he is, oh God, what fucking title does he not have?
Jesus
Head
Christ.
of the Royal Guard. Head of the fucking, he's like the peacekeeper.
The keeper of laws.
Keeper of laws. So basically he's responsible for like executions.
Yes.
Oh God, there's others. There's lots of titles that he holds. And she starts running into Luther a lot when she's visiting the palace to do her healing.
When the king dies, obviously Diem is there.
Yeah.
And there's almost like an out-of-body experience that like the king grips her arm and then it's a different voice. And it's like, I remember you, daughter of the forgotten. What do you think that means, daughter of the forgotten?
So
at that point, what theories were like running through your head?
I'm trying to remember, because in this book we get a chapter from what we learn is Diem's mother.
Yeah. Did you think she was dead?
No. Didn't think she was dead.
Me either.
The more we learn about like Diem's parentage and how Diem's her like stepdad, but how her parents met. Like the way her mum just disappeared on a mission and came back and she had a baby.
Yeah, so I almost think, and this might just be like a completely out there theory.
She's a rebel. Oh.
Diem's mum.
I think, you know, when they talk about the leader of the rebels being called Mother, that's her.
Yeah, I think that too. But, sorry, I meant about her conceiving. This might be a bit of a out there theory. I almost feel like it's a bit of a Mary and Joseph. There is no father.
Well, I kind of agree with you. So I'm in like a in between of that theory, but I agree. I think that, but then I also said to you at one point, because there's a lot of reference to the old gods, the original mortal gods. So I kind of thought for a while that maybe she's a descendant of those, like not of the lot of the kindred. Okay. She's a descendant of the old gods. However, the more that the book goes on, the more in this is book one specifically, like the more that it goes on, the more that I was like, maybe not that.
Yeah.
But at one point when we get that scene, I think is it at the end of the book we get the scene from her mother's perspective?
Yes, the last chapter.
It is that chapter. She talks about she's in like this weird place and there's like a black obelisk and all these things, and then it's very like you're not supposed to understand the chapter well because it's trying to
it's cryptic.
Yeah, very cryptic. She talks about a lot of things, but at one point she talks about a 10-pointed star. Yes. There's a lot of reference to a 10-pointed star. Now there's only 9 realms.
Yes.
However, I believe that there was a 10th realm.
Do you think it's the little island?
Potentially, yeah, it could be. Yeah. And that there was a 10th god, a 10th kindred, and that's who Diem. But I don't think she's like great-granddaughter. Like you said, I think the mum found the temple, that the god is still alive, and there was some kind of like immaculate conception, and that's what Diem is.
Yeah, I don't think there was like
a relationship.
Yeah, like banging and conceiving. I think like, because there's a lot of talk in these books about like people having visions or like premonitions almost. Yeah. Diem has one when she kisses Luther.
Yeah,
like
she
towards the end
mentions
of the
that.
book, she has like an out of body experience, and she sees her and Luther on a battlefield.
Yeah.
My working theory is that her mum like was on this mission, whatever it was, and this god presented itself to her, and I don't know, liked her spirit. You know, if she is a rebel, that might not be correct, but if she is, maybe this god was like, the fight between the mortals and the descended needs to end, and you need to be working to stop all the fighting, and I'm gonna the child in you, and she's gonna be like the salvation.
Yeah, because she's gonna be like descended of a god and a human, and not just any human, the leader of like the rebels.
Yeah,
so she's
if she's the leader.
Yeah, so like she's gonna have both sides fighting for her. That's the way to unify everyone.
Yes. So that's my like working theory at the moment. And when that like voice came out of the king and it said like daughter of the forgotten, I think the forgotten is the forgotten 10th god.
100%. I agree. That's my working theory too.
Yeah.
Although I am still keeping in the back pocket the possibility that like she's one of the OG mortal gods.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I don't know. That still, I think, there's just been a lot of reference to them.
Yeah.
And there's no mention of like what happened to them. Where did they go?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just the daughter of the forgotten that's what's like sticking in my head.
Does it mean like forgotten as in like the forgotten gods?
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing. It's so ambiguous, isn't it? Who knows?
And the fact that I've learnt that book 3 ends on a cliffhanger, I know. But then we only have got a month to wait.
Yeah, I can't wait. I hope Penn Cole is a happy ender, because
she better be. I'll have a word with her when we meet her. I'll have a word.
We learn that, well, there's so much mystery around Diem, even after book 1, where you learn that she inherits the crown from Ultha. So Ultha dies and Diem's there in the room, and it's obviously super suspicious then because people think that she's offed him.
Yeah.
But it makes no relevant sense, because if she offed him, she had no idea that there was no guarantee she'd get the crown.
Because then Luther's king.
Yeah. There's no like, it isn't like, oh, if you kill him, you get to be queen. That doesn't apply.
Yeah. One scene I just really quickly want to talk about is when the Guardians blow up the armory.
Oh God.
And Diem like runs to the rescue. And she goes in, and it's like basically all like falling on top of her. She's gonna die basically. And Luther gets her out, and he takes her to the palace for healing. And she's like in and out of consciousness. And his cousin says, "Who is she?" And he says, "I think she's my." And then she blacks out. So both of us really, really think that they are mates, because mates are a thing in this 100%.
They're not quite like we know them in like ACOTAR and stuff, but it's like similar.
Yeah, like you can feel each other's magic, and like you're just more acutely aware of each other. Like she talks a lot about like whenever she looks at him, his eyes are already on her, like as if there's a unspoken something there. But yeah, when he was like, I think she's and then she blacks out, I was like, he was gonna say mate.
Yeah, 100%. And when they kiss, she describes it as like, because she has a conversation with does Henry propose into happen in book 1 or is it book 2? Yeah, so Henry proposes to her at some point
and she doesn't answer.
She like, the thing is, she does love Henry, but I wouldn't say it's like a love in the set, like, not to sound gross, but it's more of like a family love.
Yeah, it's like their childhood best friends, and they've grown up together, and like, like the first person she kissed, the first person she slept with.
Yeah,
I feel like it's almost like a familiarity.
Yeah, but it isn't like, oh, he's the love of my life.
She's not lusting after him.
And as soon as he asks her to marry, she's like, yes.
Yeah, she's not crying her eyes out.
No, she is like not really stringing him along, but kind of stringing him along.
Yeah.
And she has a conversation with her dad about the first time he met her mother, and says like, how did you know? And he's like, because I just knew that like it didn't matter where we were, I needed to be with her. And he says that scene when he's talking about the both of them, he doesn't just talk about her mother, he talks about the mother shows up at his door with a newborn baby, and he's like, it doesn't matter, I'm gonna protect you, this child isn't even mine. I cried so much in these books. I'm only 2 books in, I've genuinely cried more than, honestly, nearly as much as I cried in fucking Throne of Glass.
Yeah, it's heavy on the emotions.
It's lovely. I think the relationship between her and her dad is fucking beautiful.
And her and her brother.
Oh, yeah. She knows that when she kisses Henry, like, it isn't the same.
Yeah, like, she kisses Luther and she's literally fucking seeing stars.
And,
like,
yes. And she says, like, that is the type of kiss to, like, end the world. Like, she knew, but she just didn't want to admit it to herself.
Amazing.
100%. So there's obviously this draw between them.
Yeah, but yeah, that was like straight off the bat. I was like, they're fucking mates.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I don't think we knew at that point that mates were a thing within this book series.
Not that that's a spoiler. Like, we're not spoiling it for book 2.
But yeah, I thought, like, if this magic system includes mates like we're used to seeing, then they are that.
And also the fact that, sorry, going back to you just mentioned, so the explosion at the armory is a result of her feeding the rebels information, and she immediately regrets it, and that's why she runs for the explosion.
Yeah, and Vance tries to stop her.
Yeah,
Vance is a prick.
But she, who is the leader? Well, not the leader, but like
the second in
command of the
and
rebels.
Because the mother is away, he is the father.
Yes. So she immediately runs towards the explosion because she's like, right, I need to go heal these people. She feels so guilty.
Yeah.
Because that's what's nice about Diem is, like, ultimately she just doesn't want death on either side. Like, she doesn't want to see Descended die. She doesn't want to see humans die. And she's really the only one talking any fucking sense because everyone up until that point just wants one or the other. Like Henry, happy to kill Descended babies, but if you kill a human baby, that's real bad.
Yeah.
It's like, come on. So she runs for the armory. She goes in, and she goes in, doesn't she? Because she's small enough to fit through a gap, and goes in to save people. She's like
dropping all her weapons as she goes because, like, she needs to be nimble. So like she's like taking everything off.
But then she gets to the first body and realizes they're just fucking dead. And she kind of gives up and curls up into a ball and is just like, do you know what? If this is how I fucking die, let me die.
But they're not dead from the explosion.
No.
They're like throats are slit and things. So like she's mad then because she's like, this, like, it was already a bad attack. You shouldn't have done it. But you came in and fucking slaughtered them first.
And stole the weapons because she sees Henry leaving with a cart, doesn't she? And earlier on in the book, when she gets asked to go so when she gets the first bit of information, which is like her entry into the rebels, it's because this little Descended girl has mysteriously become ill, and when she finds out it's because she got given a bunch of flowers by a random woman, she starts to suspect, doesn't she, that the rebels are doing it, and she's like, that just makes you as bad as everyone. You're not doing anything good.
The Descended children haven't done anything wrong other than be born to Descended parents.
This little girl, you're like, and she says, like, that little girl could have died.
Yeah.
And Henry's like, nah. Oh well.
Henry's a prick.
Yeah, fuck Henry.
How many times have you texted me, like, I fucking hate Henry?
Such a fucking prick. So sick of it. I actually, because big things, this isn't a spoiler for, well, maybe it's spoiler for Fourth Wing. Don't listen if you don't bit spoiled for Fourth Wing. But, like, I hate him more than Dane Atos.
Yeah,
I
agree.
And I fucking hated Dane Atos.
I agree.
This guy Henry's the fucking worst. And now you've shown me his picture, I like it even less.
At this point, so this is a bold statement to make, I don't even think Penn Cole could write him a redemption. Like, I don't think I could get on board.
Me either.
Like, I genuinely do not think I will ever be on board with Henry Albanon. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I would like, look, I say never because some of the redemption arcs we fucking swiveled on.
Nesta.
Yeah. So I'm not saying never say never. Penn Cole's a phenomenal writer. It isn't that I don't think she couldn't.
Yeah.
But right now I fucking hate him.
Yeah, I hate him so much.
Oh God, I want to punch his little fucking face in. She goes to save these guys from the fire and just gives up. But then like 10 minutes later wakes up and is like, not dead. And how at that point she didn't go, do you know what? Maybe. This
isn't a spoiler for book 2 at all, but obviously at the end of book 1 she gets the crown, so like we assume she's Descended.
Yeah.
And in book 2 she starts talking about like things that start to add up now that she knows. And she talks about like hiding in the shadows in the house and nobody can find her.
Yeah.
And she didn't know.
But when she was a kid, to be fair, her mother like gaslighted the fuck out of her and told that she was having hallucinations that she had magic, and that's why she needed to take the flame root powder, not because she had magic. Literally gaslighted her to be like, you're hallucinating.
Yeah, and like even though like we find out her mum's alive at the end of this book, because obviously we get a chapter from her point of view.
Well, it could still be up in the air.
Yeah, okay.
There isn't a specific that, like, I don't think there's enough of a link that you know it could be current.
Yeah, she says something happens and she goes, that means that the King of Lumos has died.
Oh, yeah, sorry, she does.
She does.
Sorry, she does.
Yeah, but I don't fucking like her.
Oh, she's done and I think that's
terrible job as a mother.
And that's a big thing that Diem battles with, and with her dad really as well, because like her dad like served the Descended like unwilling, like not unwillingly, like he's the number one general in their army.
Yeah,
he's been fighting and killing rebels.
Yeah,
so everybody is kind of like a bit shit.
Yeah, other than Taylor, her brother.
Her brother is genuinely the only like nice person.
And yeah, they have a lovely relationship, her and her brother. But yeah, her mum's a fucking bitch.
Oh,
for making her think she had hallucinations, for making her take this awful fucking powder, which she says tastes disgusting. And she takes it every fucking morning, bless her.
And if her mum does turn out to be alive in this series and comes back in another book, I'm gonna fucking struggle with that redemption arc.
Yeah, same, because obviously something happened with the Descended, whether it was like a god or whether she slept with a Descended man or however Diem was conceived. One, she fucking knows because she's given her flame root.
Yeah.
And then two, she's making the Descended out to be the worst people in the world. Stay away from them. You're not allowed to go near them. You're not allowed to go into the Descended city, whatever. Knowing that she is one. And it's just, I so, like, how confusing for a child.
Yeah.
Like, and then obviously she's like 21, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like, finding all this out now. I'm just like.
And she finds out that she's even lied to her. Like, she didn't know that she was healing at the palace.
No.
Like, there's just so much about her mother's life that she's just lied through her fucking teeth to at Diem.
It's almost like Bryce and Danica. Like, oh, Danica didn't tell me that. Oh, Danica didn't tell me that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, my mum didn't tell me that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, I would, like, if it does pan out that her mum is alive and she comes into this in book 3 or book 4, I'm going to fucking struggle big time with that redemption arc because she's a fucking bitch. Just gaslit her daughter.
Bitch. What did you rate it?
Oh, 4.5. 4 out of 5, I'd say. 4 out of 5.
However, I will preface that if the story continues the way it's been going, like without giving any spoilers, if it continues the way it's been going, this will be a 5-star series for me.
Yeah. I think so much of this, and when I say similar to Dawn of Onyx series, Sacred Stone series, it's not in terms of like the plot, but they just the vibes. I don't know what it is. So like book 1, I just always think a first book in a series is never really going to be a 10 out of 10.
The thing is, the first book in the series, you have to do world building. So you do lose some of the story because you're building this world. Whereas when you get into a second book, the world's built. We understand the magic. We understand the Descended, the mortals. We understand the crowns. Like, give me the story. So I feel like book 2, well, you smash it in a day. I smashed it in 2 days, I think. I just fucking ate it up.
And you get more up because you're not trying to set up a world and set up relationships. You get more like character development.
Yes.
And what I will say again, we're not trying to spoil the series, but like if you're listening to this because you don't care about spoilers and you thought I'll just fucking listen to this episode even though I haven't read it, what I will say for book 2 is like something for me I find in books is I like a bit of world building, but I don't love I'm not like which is one of the reasons why I've never picked up Priory of the Orange Tree, because I know that it's just fucking worldbuilding.com. There's like not much like character develop, you know what I mean? But I would much rather a character driven book rather than a big world. Like and not that this series doesn't deliver on a world, it does, but what I will say, having read the second book now, the characters.
Yeah. And I think that's another reason that I love the map and the realms, because like you said, they're simple enough to understand, but not so simple that you feel like it's dumbed down for you.
Yeah.
But like the world building was done really quickly because it is more simple than some of the maps that we're used to. but I really appreciated that about this, because I just felt like you could get straight stuck in.
And then again, not to spoil the second book, but like the characters that we get, and a lot of them are mentioned. All of them, I think, are mentioned in the first book, but we don't really get like too deep into the relationships with them and Diem. But then the characters in the second book, oh my god, like just phenomenal.
What were your predictions for book 2 off the back of book 1?
Oh, good question. Well, obviously we knew she's the fucking queen.
Yeah. How did you think that was going to play out? Like straight off the bat,
Not
as soon
the
as
way
you found
it
out.
did. I think because I knew there was a third book. Obviously, I knew there was a third book. I didn't think. I thought that we would sort of have to go on like a big journey before she accepts the crown. So I was expecting that, like in book 2, she'd go off somewhere to another neighboring like realm, and that's what I was really thinking was going to happen. I wasn't sort of thinking she's going to step into a queendom quite as early as she does.
Yeah.
That's not a spoiler, but you know.
What were your predictions for her mum? Obviously you've said you thought she was a rebel leader.
I didn't
thinking that you haven't read book 2, pretend you haven't read book 2.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think her mum's gonna make an appearance in book 2?
Yeah, I do think that like she's gonna pan out to be the rebel leader.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What in terms of romance, what did you think was coming in book 2 between her and Henry, her and Luther, her and anybody else?
I think that the Henry thing, I think, has like come to a sizzling end.
Yeah, I think she's realizing that he's not the young boy that she fell in love with.
Yeah, I'm not predicting that Henry's going to be in it much in book 2.
Yeah.
And I think Luther's going to be much more of the focus.
Yeah, I hope so.
Because I'm not mad about that.
Oh, he's so sexy.
One of the things that we will mention, again, like it's so possible you could be listening to this and you're fine with listening to our episodes about books, even if you don't care that it's spoiled, is that like there's not much spice in this. So far. Like, but I wouldn't discourage you from reading it if you're looking for like, if you're still in, like I wouldn't say don't read it if you're looking for spice, because I think it has so much sexual tension.
Yeah, I think it's, I wouldn't class it as a YA because I don't think it's as tame as Tog.
No, it's not.
But it's not smutty. But like you said, there's so much like sexual tension, yearning, like, just sizzles.
Like she does bang Henry in the first one.
Yeah.
And it isn't like clean. Like it is like it's discussed, but it isn't like, we're not talking like, some books.
Yeah, so that was book 1 of the Kindred's Cursed Saga, A Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole.
So expect now next week will be book 2, then it will be book 3, then we think that, because I don't think we're going to release it as a mini-sode.
No, but we've booked an hour with Penn.
But even if it is a mini-sode, all 3 of the books we would have done the episodes on. So like, we'll see. And then that takes us to like mid to end of June. And when is book 4 due out? The what of July?
1st of July.
So potentially, like timing wise, we could literally do 1, 2, 3, Penn Cole, and then book 4.
Yeah. And then for our listeners who don't like Penn Cole, tough tits. See you in 2 months.
See you in 2 months because it's tough shit. Maybe we so we're gonna basically we're in our Kindred Curse era, as the Taylor Swift fan would say. Not that I'm one.
I'm in my Penn Cole era.
We're in our Penn Cole era. So if you don't like it, see you in fucking July, babes.
Oh, that's what I'm looking for. I was going to say, can I tell everyone that somebody made you cry?
Someone made me cry. One of you made me cry in a good way. It was very nice. And we're going to shout you out, and you can clip this if you want to tag them.
So on TikTok, her handle is at Gee .booksandlife. And she posted us in her car. She was listening to us on the way to work, and like I didn't realize like in cars that have like the smart screens, then our logo would come up. So
I've
like,
sent that to you on my screen though, haven't I? It does in my car. I'm sure I sent it to you.
don't know.
Oh, but it was just weird to see it like that. To actually like, because we know that you're listening, right? But it's weird to see that you're listening, like,
Yeah.
and I had to cry. It made me cry.
Yeah, it was just like, I don't know, so it came full circle because when we started this, we were like, oh, it's gonna be us, our partners and our mums listening. Like,
Yeah.
and now like somebody on TikTok listens to us on the way to work. I'm like, oh my God, we are somebody's companion, like journey companions.
And especially when you're doing this type of thing, because it's just the two of us talking to each other, there's not people this side.
Yeah.
Like we finish episodes and we say, oh, that was, we really enjoyed that. But like, we don't know that people are going to like it.
Yeah, some people might be like rolling their eyes at us. Like,
yeah. And we have like, when we come into these episodes, obviously we read books and we do our research, but we're not like a crime podcast, right? Where we have like pages and pages of research and we're going to talk about a crime. We're going to deep dive. We kind of just like go with the flow, and well, it says it on the fucking tin. We talk shit for an hour.
Yeah, and like we bounce off each other as well.
Yeah.
So like sometimes like you'll come out with something and I'll be like, oh, I didn't think of that, and that'll spark a new conversation that we don't have any notes on.
Yeah.
Or I'll be like, oh, this was my theory, and you'll be like, oh, I didn't think of it like from that point of view, and then we'll get down a rabbit hole of like discussing a theory.
Yeah.
And like that's like, it's not scripted. Like it's all just like us feeding off each other, which I just think is
and we love doing it. Like with the person who did it was, they posted our I think it was Crooked Kingdom or Six of Crows episode, and we
about Kaz being 17,
and we love those episodes, right? This isn't we by no means do, because we wouldn't release something that we weren't like happy with,
and that we weren't proud of.
But like I remember thinking like at the end of them, because we don't now, especially maybe in the earlier days of our books, we sort of tried to go through the plot, but now we're steering away from it because you've read the books, like you don't need us to like tell you the story.
We're trying to like come up with questions for each other, and like,
but it's still not like a format.
No.
So like, we spoke for an hour on Crooked Kingdoms. I remember finishing listening to it, and not in a critiquey way, but I was like, oh, there was so much stuff we didn't mention. And then I panic because I think like, oh, like we're not giving you a good review, but obviously you guys like it because people are listening.
I wonder if Penn will listen. Thanks so much for listening.
Follow us on TikTok and Instagram at A Pod of Smut and Wingspan.
See you next week.
Bye.